How's it going, all you beautiful people? I've been getting the price of every single ETB from Scarlet and Violet base to Phantasmal Flames since January 1st. And the main purpose is so many people have different opinions about the Pokemon market, if prices are going to go up, if prices are going to go down, if prices are going to hit MSRP again. And I decided to get every single price of every single ETB from Scarlet and Violet base to Phantasmal Flames because I didn't want to leave out specialty sets that didn't have booster boxes. I know that booster boxes are typically what people talk about when they talk about investing in Pokemon or talking about Pokemon prices, but every single set at least has an ETB, so I just use ETB. So let's run through it. And I'm just going to highlight some of these. So one thing to note is Scarlet and Violet base all the way to Paldean Fates. So Scarlet and Violet base, Paldea Evolved, Obsidian Flames 151, Paradox Rift, and Paldean Fates will be going out of print in April. So I'm assuming after April or after they go out of print, we will see some sort of increase in the prices of these, but I guess we'll just wait and see. Because like I said, you can talk about feelings, you can talk about what you think is going to happen, you can talk about what you want to happen, but one thing you can't deny is the data. So just going down this list, a lot of ETBs did stay around the same price from last week, and I do use lowest listing. I know that's not always the best way to get the price of an item for Pokemon using TCG Player, but I'm just using lowest listing just to stay consistent and just to make it easy to capture the price every single week. So that's what I'm going off of, and that's what I've been using since January 1st. So Scarlet and Violet base, Miraidon, Koraidon, they stayed the same from last week to this week. Same with Paldea Evolved, Obsidian Flames, not much movement there. 151. 151 did see a bit of a dip this week. It went from $445.98 to $427 this week. That is a 4.26% decrease. But 151 has been going a little bit crazy on price since the beginning of the year. So it's gone from $376 on January 1st to $378 to $407 to $446, down to $427 this week. So although it is down 4.26% week over week, or from last week to this week, it is up 13.6% year to date. So I would say that 151 has gone up a pretty good amount since January 1st. And I don't expect this to change much because 151 is one of the sets that's going to go out a print in April. And 151 is the most popular set out of the sets that are going out of rotation in April. So that's 151. The next one, Paradox Rift. There hasn't been much movement in the two Paradox Rift. Paradox Rift Roaring Moon did go up 3% from last week to this week, but so that is a bit of an increase. But the next thing is Paldean Fates, and this is probably the second most popular set that's going out of print in April. And Paldean Fates ETBs have officially surpassed $300. So last week it was $299.99. This week, it is $303. So from January 1st, Paldean Fates is up 14.69%. That is a pretty big increase from January 1st to now, especially because it's been less than a month. Temporal Forces Iron Leaves EX. This is one of the Temporal Forces boxes. It has gone up a decent amount from last week. It went up from $79.99 to $89.98. That is a 12.49% increase from last week. And just to look at last five sold, just out of curiosity, I took a look, and the last five sold when I checked was 88, 80, 83, 90, 80. I'm assuming some of these probably had shipping because last sales on TCG Player don't include shipping, and a lot of times boxes have shipping in them. But anyways, that's the last five listing of Temporal Forces Iron Leaf. So the last sold was $88. The last listing now is $90, so that did see a decent bump up in prices. Temporal Forces Walking Wake didn't go up too much. Twilight Masquerade didn't change too much. Shroud of Fable went down a little bit from $81.99 last week to $81, but it is still up 10.35% since the beginning of the year. Stellar Crown saw a bit of an increase. So it did go up from $92.24 lowest listing last week to $96 lowest listing this week. That means it is a 4.08% week change and a 4.64% year-to-date change. This doesn't mean that any of the boxes did sell at $96. I'm just going off lowest listed price. But that does show that the bottom and the how cheap you can get it if you're to log on to TCG Player today is $96. Surging Sparks went down 2.42% from last week to this week, but it's still up 12.73% from January 1st. Prismatic Evolutions went down a little bit from $135.98 to $134.95. So it is down 0.76% from last week, but overall from January 1st, it's up 10.12%. Journey Together didn't change from last week to this week. Destined Rivals, this is one of the ones that continues to go up. So in the beginning of the year, it was $133.91. It went from 134 to 140 to 149 to 153 to now 155. So from last week to this week, $152.99 to $154.87. That's an increase of 1.23%. But from the year to date, so from January 1st to now, it's up 15.65%. And every single week, Destined Rivals has gone up in price. Destined Rivals is one of the ones where I don't really see it dropping, and I do see it continue to go up. There have been a good amount of Destined Rivals restocks, but not really too many or at all Destined Rivals ETBs. So I do think that Destined Rivals ETBs will hold a premium. Black Bolt and White Flare both did see increases. Black Bolt last week went from $87 to $89.98. That's an increase of 3.43%. Year to date, it's gone up 6.8%. White Flare went from $83 to $84.97. That's a percent week change of 2.37%. A year to date change of 7.54%. Mega Evolutions is one of the ones that did go down, both the Mega Evolutions Mega Gardevoir and Mega Evolutions Mega Lucario. The Mega Gardevoir one went down 2.60% from last week to this week, $77 to $75. And it has gone down since January 1st. So it's one of the three boxes that has gone down since the beginning of the year. It's gone down 0.98%. The Mega Lucario ETB went down from $83.99 to $77. And this one went down 8.32%. And from January 1st, it's gone down 9.02%. So the three ETBs that have gone down since the beginning of the year are Paradox Rift Roaring Moon, and then both the Mega Evolution ETBs. Phantasmal Flames went up a little bit, $78.41 to $79.95. So it's gone up 1.96%, up 5.05% year to date. And so overall, this is the first week where the overall price of all these ETBs has gone down a little bit. It's gone down about $2. So last week it was $2,721.83. This week is $2,719.54. So it's gone down 0.08%, which is not much. But since January 1st, overall, all these ETBs have gone up 8.52%. So that's the overall state of the market right now. What do you think about the market? I think that it's a healthy sign if you want prices to go up, because since the beginning of the year, ETB prices have slowly been creeping up. It seems like from last week to this week, there's been a little bit of stabilization across a lot of ETBs, where there weren't many price changes. But I think this all does point to signs that, if I were to guess, and we'll see based on data, I do think that Pokemon ETBs and just the overall Pokemon market will see increases in price soon, especially with Ascended Heroes officially coming out tomorrow, I believe, with the 3-pack blister, the 3-pack tech sticker collection, the only product that's going to come out. I do think Ascended Heroes booster packs are going to sell for a pretty big premium at release compared to a majority of sets that come out, just because there's not going to be many packs on the market. So I think that a scarcity of Ascended Hero booster packs are going to make a little bit of a bump in the Pokemon market, where products across the board people are going to want, because they can't really get a lot of Ascended Heroes, and just the hype that comes with a new set that comes out and there isn't much supply compared to demand. I think that's going to propel the market, as well as the 30th anniversary coming this year. So I really think that the Pokemon market will see a big increase in prices for the rest of the year. That's just my guess. I know that a lot of people have different opinions, but that's just my guess. And like I said, I'm doing this data where I see the actual numbers week by week, just to see if Pokemon prices will continue to go up in price, or if not, what's going to happen, because the data will be right in front of us. So thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think about the market, what you want to happen in the market, what you think is going to actually happen. If you think prices are going to go up, prices are going to go down, just let me know in the comments. And if you watch at this point, I really appreciate your support. I would really appreciate it if you subscribe to my YouTube, follow me on Instagram and TikTok, because your support goes a long way in supporting a small channel like mine. And I am very grateful for you for watching this video all the way through. So thank you so much. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you next time.